Hello and welcome to today's video. My name is Ben from Build a Body Online Rugby, helping rugby players get leaner, stronger and faster to level up their game. Today we are going to talk about mastering the rugby week. Rugby is absolute chaos. You all know this, that it is mad. Week by week, things are going to change all of the time. And one of the most common failures for rugby players is learning how to get organised, how to organise their training and their games so that they can play and perform to the best of their abilities week in, week out, and avoiding those peaks and troughs through poor organisation. So learning how to manipulate that rugby schedule is going to be essential to optimise your game and your well-being no matter the stage of the season. So if you find this valuable, please give it a like and subscribe. Without further ado, let's crack on with today's training. So you might initially be thinking here, why do I need to know this? Don't I just show up to my trainings, do my games, and that'll be that. The rest of the week I can relax and it'll all take care of itself. Well, you've got to realise that scheduling as a rugby player is so multifactorial. It is not just about your rugby sessions, it is your whole life that is going to influence, number one, your performance, number two, your well-being as well. Okay, so for example, if you are working full-time and you have a ridiculously busy working week, can you seriously expect yourself to turn up to rugby trainings and play a game to the absolute best of your ability, to a high intensity, to higher durations? Realistically, no. You're going to be affected. It's going to be a lot harder. Okay, so it's so important that you get this right and you learn about the multifactorial stages of scheduling your rugby training week and you learn how to manipulate that. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to dive into those elements that have to be scheduled and mastered during your weekly training. So first on the list is obviously games and competition. This is so important, especially if you're in the in-season. This is what all of the training is for. This is what absolutely everything is culminating up towards. This has to be the priority for your week. Then you have your team trainings. So this is your actual technical, tactical work with your team. And it's so important here. This is where you're going to start to gel with everybody in your team. You're going to run through your plays, your moves, your set pieces, all of those rugby specific skills. Those come next. So important for you to perform well. Then you've got your own personal training or strength and conditioning, especially if you're an amateur. This is going to be something you're probably going to have to do on your own. Really important to consider this as well. This may include anything like weights in the gym, a speed session, a conditioning session on the field. You might be doing some mobility, you might be doing a recovery session, whatever it is. It may take a long time and you may have to travel there or use a facility, for example, a gym. These need to be planned and prepared. Otherwise, you might be missing valuable S&C time and you won't be getting the performance benefits that you need. Recovery is next. This is a really common one that people forget, but you've also got to schedule in your recovery. Remember, if you don't recover, there is no point in doing all of that extra training that we've just mentioned. You have to plan that in and you have to make sure it's scheduled too, because that can take a long period of time if you are at an extra high volume or an extra high intense week of rugby or games. Then we've got our tactical prep. Especially in the modern game, there's going to be a lot more video, there's going to be a lot more meetings, a lot more time that you need to spend upskilling and getting prepared for your next game. So again, these previews, reviews can take hours. You need to make sure that these are locked and loaded into your schedule so that you can one-up your opposition. And after that, we can move into slightly more personal aspects of life. For example, your work. Unless you're a professional rugby player, work is probably going to come first before your rugby. So again, unfortunately, that is something that you're going to have to schedule all of your training around because the job has to happen. You've then got your downtime. So this is taking a step away from the game. This is your relaxation. This could also interlink with your recovery, but you don't want to miss out on this stuff. If you're missing time with friends and family just because you haven't been good enough at organising or scheduling in your rugby trainings, you're going to suffer in the long run. So it's so important that we do that as well. And finally, meals. Again, we're looking right into the micro level here, but it is important, especially if body composition is a big goal for you and nutrition is something that you find quite difficult. Scheduling in your meals, your shopping, when to do your bulk cooking. Again, this all takes time and it must be scheduled. So that just gives you a bit of an overview of a few things that you need to lock in and a few things that can be affected in your rugby schedule. So again, you might be thinking, well, why do I need to know all that? Why do I need to bother? That sounds really stressful, adding all that to my calendar and all that kind of stuff. I don't want to do it. Well, there's going to be a lot of reasons, there's going to be a lot of things that are going to be negatively affected if you don't do this. If you are serious about improving your rugby performance, if you want to level up, if you even just want to get slightly trimmer, get leaner, increase your muscle mass, reduce your fat mass and change your body, then that is so important that you nail this. What we're going to do right now is we're going to outline some of the elements that can be impacted negatively if you don't plan properly. So firstly and most importantly, again, is your performance, and that is your performance on the weekends in your games. You want to win, you want to play well. That is what all of your training, all of the effort is about. So bad scheduling is going to negatively prepare you for those games and those competitions. You've then got things like body composition. If you're trying to enhance your lean muscle mass, if you want to reduce some of your fat mass, it requires disciplined training, it requires nutrition, it requires adequate recovery. If your ducks aren't in order and even one of these things gets thrown out the window, it's going to lead to little or even no adaptation to your training, and you're just going to stay in the same state. So you've got to make sure everything is aligned so you can keep that consistency and discipline. We then have aspects like stress, running around like crazy. Okay, if you get worked up, if you're late all the time, all of these things, they really reduce your ability to recover. It doesn't feel nice. It will make you low on energy. It's distracting from your performance. Everything is going to be negatively affected by this added stress. We've then got training load management, and this one is so important. This is literally the whole point in following a rugby program, following a schedule. This is how to enhance your physical performance, is managing your load. It's going to reduce your risk of injury and illness. That's a massive thing, okay? Managing your training load, you've got to have an efficient schedule to do that. Otherwise, you're going to struggle. This was one of my main areas of study before I went into rugby strength and conditioning. Whilst I was at university, it is so vital, and it relates to all of your performance and well-being metrics. We touched on these previously, but recovery, injury and illness, work, all of these things, it's really important that you nail them. Otherwise, you're going to have negative effects. And then you can look at the lifestyle side of things again, like relationships. You really don't want to be missing out on time with your loved ones, with your friends, with your family. It's really important to stay close with the people that are close to you. And then sustainability. Okay, having a long and happy career in the game, not suffering because you're too tired, you've got too many injuries, the commitment is too difficult because it takes up so much time. Training and playing regularly is breaking you down. If you've got an efficient schedule, if you can manage it, you're going to be able to keep going week on week, and it's going to be more sustainable. So you can see this is just a non-exclusive list, but there are so many direct effects to your performance, but also your day-to-day well-being for you having proper organisation and scheduling skills. This concept is absolutely massive when you're thinking of rugby and rugby training. It's so important to recognise no one player, no one team is going to have the same situation every single week. You can follow any advice you want, you can follow plans, you can follow templates. If it doesn't fit your specific context, your specific week as a player, it's useless. Your week can also change, okay? Every single one can be different, every single day can be different. Work might get really busy, like we said, compared to the weeks before. You might have a massive life event, for example, a friend's wedding or a death in the family. Things like these, they really affect your week, so you need to be able to adapt to those. For these reasons, your context is so key. You need to have the flexibility, you need to have the knowledge so that you can apply all of the things that we're telling you now to your own specific situation. That way you can continually adapt, you can continually conquer the game, and you can get the best out of your performance. What we're going to do now is just give you some examples of where some changes may occur week by week and how you might adapt to that. So let's say you are heading into a heavy training and competition week. There's a massive game on the weekend and you've got loads and loads of training to do. Well, you're going to have to really emphasize your recovery. You're going to have to make sure you're adapting to that heavy training and you are ready to rock when you get to that game. So you're going to need more time to sleep. You're going to need to enhance that. You're going to need to make sure you're getting enough good quality calories in, so your nutrition might need a bit of work. You're going to need more time to train. You're going to need more time to turn up to training early and do the reviews. You're going to need more time to recover from that difficult and intense training as well. And you're going to have to work on reducing those work and life stresses so that you can adapt from that training and you can recover well and seriously focus on the game. So you're going to be looking a little bit like this guy, taking care of yourself physically, making sure you're getting your recovery in and really priming up for that game on the weekend. Now, let's say you're on the other side of that spectrum and you have a really heavy work or a really heavy life week. Well, what you're going to have to focus on is much more on the stress management side of things to make sure that you are able to deal with all of those heavy work and life stresses, so that you're going to adapt, so that you're going to be feeling good, you're not going to be too overworked by the time you get to the weekend. Your nutrition might have to be very, very strategic, especially if you have a body composition goal. You might be looking at managing how much intake you have. Maybe you're looking at manipulating the macronutrients for specific days, like you have a heavy training day and you don't do any training at all. You're also going to have much less time for training and recovery. So you need to make sure that you're factoring in more training intent. So you're getting to the gym, you're smashing out your weight session, for example, just like this guy here. You're getting in there, you're training with good intent, you are getting everything done, bish, bash, bosh, in and out. So those are just some ways that you may experience a different kind of week and how you may be able to manipulate your schedule to perform at your best when it comes to the game. So one of my major pieces of advice is for you, and how you can improve as a rugby player is to get a planner and get a calendar. This is such simple human skills and human tools, but also so good as a rugby player. It's going to give you loads of clarity. It's going to enhance your ability to juggle all of those previous elements we've gone through today. It's going to reduce your stress, and it's going to improve your mental state as well. When those tricky situations are coming up, you'll be able to deal with it. But most of all, what this does, it drives consistency and it drives disciplined practice. Rugby is about discipline, so it's so key that you learn how to do that, and these are one of the best tools for it. And these are just my personal recommendations for you if you are going to get a planner and get a calendar, or if you don't use one already. Over here, Brendan Bouchard's High Performance Planner. I would seriously recommend this one. It has great structure, really good for your clarity, and really good for your mental training as well. Mindset's so important as a rugby player, so this can help you become a higher performer, a higher critical thinker, and just improve overall. And I just simply use Google Calendar to organize my life. I find it really simple. Maybe you can do the same. It's a great tool for everybody, and it's free. But use whatever suits you. Maybe you just like to write things in your phone. Maybe you just want to write things down on a piece of paper. Whatever it is, whatever suits your context, make sure you start to use these skills. And my final piece of advice is to get a program, get a proper rugby program that you can follow. If you are completely winging it, you are putting yourself at such a massive disadvantage than already you are going to experience with those ups and downs of a rugby week. You've got to be able to plan, you've got to progress, and you've got to periodize your training tactically and effectively to make any sort of improvements in your rugby. Otherwise, you really are just going to be winging it. You're going to get absolutely hammered by those really difficult weeks of life, especially as a rugby player. So find a trusted source, follow a program that works for you and your context. So I hope that was valuable. Just to recap on today's training on Mastering the Week Rugby, it demands organization and discipline. So you've got to be able to schedule and organize yourself. Improper planning, it's going to harm your performance. It's going to harm your body composition results. It's going to harm your lifestyle factors and overall well-being. You've always got to adapt the schedule to your specific context. No one size fits all for a rugby player, so make sure you can adapt it. Make sure you upskill with your knowledge as well so that you can do that. And my top tips for mastering your rugby week is to get a planner, get a calendar, and get a rugby program. That is going to help you so much. Stay aligned, gives you clarity, keeps you disciplined, keeps you on the right track. Otherwise, you are winging it, and you are going to be taking a serious step back from the potential gains that you can have. Hopefully that was valuable. Please check out the description below. I'll put the link in to get that planner if you want to see it. It's not affiliate link. Just check it out. I want to help you out with that one if you need it. Also, check out our free group. There's a mini course in there. There's more trainings here, and there's some example rugby schedules in there. Absolutely free. Link again is in the description. Check it out if you want to get your hands on some of those schedules for rugby players. Thanks a lot for tuning in. We'll see you on the next video. Take care.